Okay, so my plan here is as I go through and I start dimensioning the 13 drawings, as I see little snafus that might get in your way and might make things difficult, I'm going to pop in and try to fix some of those things. In fact, as I'm sitting here, I'm just happening to be noticing this should be a little bit different, this whole situation. So quickly I'm going to go to model here, zip over to this, and this is another one of those ones where it's not updated in the video. I don't know why exactly. So we'll deal with this in a second. So, talking about this drawing, this is our next drawing that has to get dimensions. So, let's go back and take these ellipses off of here that we put on here earlier. And then let's get some grip edit practice. So, if I take my grip edit and I pull this line out, and just to make sure that I stay with that green line in front of it, it'll draw it out to a length where I know that it'll stay straight. And then I'll draw this one out, and I'll cross over that line, just like if I was drawing with my pencil. Then grab line. I better change my layer. I want to get to object. Make sure I'm in object here. I am. So object, line, pull out here. Great. TR. And we'll drag all of this off of here. So we trim all that out. Okay, great. So we have our original object back. So let's go back to the dimensioning layer. Let's go to ISO dims. Let's come up here and go to aligned. And the reason, maybe the main reason we're making this video, is when we have situations like this. So if I click on this side and I click down here, so the length of this object is, let's get a look at it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Looks like 12 squares, right? So it should be 3 inches. And if I click on it this way, it pulls me off at 3.61, which is not what I want. The way I want to be able to pull my dimension off here is when I go to aligned, I'm going to click on this side, but because this line doesn't extend out, I need to pull it from here out in this area. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold my mouse here and I'm going to draw this green tracking line out to this intersection and then click and pull off, and then I'll do my dim edit now so we can talk about, so we can see what we're looking at. Click oblique. Click our object, enter. We got to put our angle in here. I think it's this way. Yep, we're good. So that's awesome. Now we have our 3 coming off the wrong way. The problem that we have, though, is that this extension line needs to extend down to here to be done properly. And we don't have that situation. And there's really no way to edit this, so we're going to come up with a cheat. So I'm going to come up with the line tool and make sure I'm still in ISO dims, and I'm going to come down here and I'm going to draw my mouse off because I want to start this point a certain distance away. Now most of our extension lines, I don't remember exactly how we set it up in our dim styles, but we're going to make 1/16 is how far away we should start our extension line from the start of our line. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to draw this, and now nobody's the wiser. It looks like we have our general dimension the way it's supposed to be. So I'm going to go through and just dimension this whole thing together here to see if we run up with any other problems. One of the more difficult parts, and you're going to end up stealing a lot of the dimensions from me, but you should learn as you go. And the idea is you want to put as few dimensions on as humanly possible while still making the person who tries to build it able to build it. So you really want to be careful not to over dimension, especially because the more dimensions you put on, the more complicated the drawing becomes. Visually, the person who's trying to make it is confused by the fact that you have so many dimensions on there. And some things can be inferred. So like, for example, if we put this 1 on here, and let's put this someplace else. Let's go like this. Let's go aligned, and we'll pull a line. Let's go this way. Let's go this way. Let's go up top. So we'll click here, and then we'll extend this line up to where it hits there. We get 2, and so we can see it right. Dim edit, oblique, click my object. I believe we want to go down with this one. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. We'll align the text later. But now we have that same problem we had before. So let's grab the line tool. I'm going to come up. I'll zoom in closer so I can see what I'm doing. 1/16. Enter, connect our lines. Again, no one's the wiser and everything looks perfect. So then we want to go through, and at some point here we have to say that this is 1. And once we put this 1 on here, so let's do this. Let's go here, here, to there, drag off a little bit, dim edit, oblique, Click our object, enter. I'll go away from it again. Okay, pop that in. And now we don't need to dimension from here to here. The builder can figure out that if it has an overall width of 2 and that this dimension is 1, there's only thing left for this dimension to be is 1. Right? So we don't want to over dimension. I don't need to put that 1 on there. Same thing up here. I'm going to go through and I'm going to put this dimension on so I won't have to create that extension situation in a minute. And I'm going to go aligned. And we'll go from here to here. And we get 2. And so we'll go dim edit. Dim edit. Oblique. This object. Send our angle down. Okay. The other thing you should get in a good habit of as you get better here. Let's align these 2 dimensions, right? Okay, so that looks good. So now we know this is 2, we know this is 2, we know the overall is 3 with this dimension has to be 1. Overall 2, this dimension has to be 1. So I think we're in pretty good shape there. We could use an overall height. We don't think we have that anywhere. So let's get from here to there. So we're going to need a little help on that one. So let's go here and then pull our line off. We'll go right there. I think we're in the line tool instead of the dimension tool. So Control Z, aligned, down here to here, drag our line off. There we go, dim edit. Again, the other thing that's weird too is showing you how to dimension in isometrics. It's not typically the order that how this all usually goes. Usually you deal with multi-line views better, but I think it's fun learning this way first. Just can be a little confusing at times. So we'll line those up. We gotta grab it from the arrow. Okay, so we're in good shape there. And again, we're gonna have that situation where we need a line in here. So come off. Let's go 1/16. Connect to our arrow. No one's the wiser. We're in good shape there. So do we have everything we need on this object? We have this. We have this overall of 3. We know that's 1. We have this overall of 2. I don't think we have anything that shows that this or this also is 1. So let's go through and put something in there. And, you know, sometimes you have to wrestle between what's the clearest way to do it and what's the... Because, you know, if I put this 1 down here, and I'll show you what I mean, it's going to make the object look clunky. It's easy to do, and we don't have to use the cheat that we've been using. But if we go dim edit, oblique, click here, enter, there to there. Now, I mean, it's not the worst, but it's just, it might look better. It might be easier to read if I do it someplace else. I just hit undo there just to get rid of that. So let's go aligned again and see how this looks. And literally, guys, this is dimensioning. Like sometimes, you know, you have to kind of play with things to get, you know, the right situation. So dim edit, click oblique, click here, hit enter, draw our angle back this way, add our line. Oops, almost forgot our 1/16. Enter. We'll see how this looks. Maybe we like this better. The goal is to make it as readable as possible for the user, and I like that one. Now, it could have been down here. It wouldn't have been the worst situation, but we don't have to have that situation, so let's not do it. Another place we don't know for sure is we don't know that this is 1. There's no way we can guarantee this. So what I would suggest doing is rather than try to cram that 1 in there where we know we're going to get a leader, right, where we're going to get one of these types of situations, let's do this. Let's back up this 3. And let's move this 2 back to here. And then let's put this dimension in. Let's go aligned. And we'll go... The other thing you don't want to do, this is also wrong. You don't want to be here to here because that extension line is going to finish through the object, and you wouldn't want that. So make sure you don't do it that way. We should do it with our cheat that we've kind of been doing here to make it look correct. So draw here, and then we can pull our line out again. Put that 2 there, dim edit, oblique, click our object, enter, here to there, and I like the way that looks. Right? So now I come up and I know this is an overall of 3, this is an overall of 2, so we know this has to be 1. Same thing here. Overall of 2 has to be 1. I think that's all the lines we're going to need here. We might tweak it up a little bit as we bring it into paper space, but in general, we're pretty good. We also want to make a real effort. So if you look at the way my dimensions are, we want to try to keep them off of the object, right? We don't want a situation like this. This would be wrong. We don't want here to here, right? And then dim edit, dim edit, here, enter. This is like an absolute emergency if you have to do something. There's really no other way. We want to keep our dimensions off the object. We want to also keep them as clear as possible. You can see I've got good spacing. It's not hard to tell which line is going to what space, what dimension is for what arrows. We're in good shape. Most of what we did down here, this is like, I don't know, drawing number 9, I think. But most of what we did down here had similar issues. We had to come up with our cheat here. You can actually see we're missing our cheat here. I didn't realize it when we did it, but now I can take my line, come down here, draw it off, 1/16, draw that up to here, and now that's fixed, right? So we had a couple of things here. There was also some inferences here, right? You know, I put this 0.25 in here. I could have done, what's the overall? I could have done 0.75 from here to here like I did on the last object. But I didn't like the cheat. I didn't like the way it was going to look with having to pull that one line off of there. When you print your drawings, 9 times out of 10, it's not going to be different colors. It's going to be all black and white. And sometimes when you have to have additional extension lines, it doesn't look great. I mean, I could do it. I don't know. Let's change it just to make it look a little bit better. Oh, wait, that wasn't for that anyway. Sorry. That's a quarter. Oh, yeah. Sorry, it was. And we dimension. We didn't need to see that. It does get a little confusing here. It looks like that 0.25 sometimes isn't here, but it doesn't need to be. We know this is an overall of 1. We know this is 0.75. We know those left over is 0.25. But so this can be a little bit confusing. So let's get this one out of here. I like that idea. Let's go aligned. And let's go here. And we'll come in here and we'll draw our line out until we figure out where we need to be. Right there. We'll pull it off. Dim edit. Oblique. Click our object. Enter, and we'll go back the same way as our extension line should be. And that's in the wrong spot. We actually did that a little bit wrong. Apologize for that. Align one more time here to there. And then we'll click that in place, dim edit. We'll go oblique. We'll hit enter. Click again. Now we've got to go and have my object going this way. So then I will take this. I'm going to drag this in here. I think that'll look a little bit better. Draw this line out here so it's in the, you can't make it exactly now, but generally where that is. Right, and maybe that looks a little better. We'll draw our cheat line in here. Pull this off. We can get it at the angle we want. We can. 1/16. Connect it to my arrow. Again, nobody's the wiser. And it looks good. So just some other objects. We still have to go through and put our right side, our front, our top, and our right side. That right side is going to have to fit on this face or this one. Same thing for that other one. But those are the things I wanted to teach you or show you. Then you have to go and you have to bring it into paper space and figure out what scale you want. But those 2 little helpful things, dealing with this cheat and how to handle that situation should help. If you have any questions, obviously come up and ask, but otherwise, good luck.